Okay. So, okay, you started recording now. I see that.
Mhm.
I see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the part three. I'm correct?
Yes, this is
The
part
part three
three,
of the career
and
conversation.
it is goal setting for career achievement. So
Yeah.
last week we covered passion, skills, vision, and significance, and how all four of these components
Yeah.
they're vital to career success. And so, if you would like to catch to see some of the things that we discussed, you definitely want to watch that. Actually, I recommend that you go back and you watch the videos from the past 2 weeks because it sort of leads into what we're talking about today. So
Yeah.
I'll let
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
take it over, Mo.
All right. Thank you, Dami. You've been such an incredible value added resource to this career series. When we started, the conversations have been, um, how will I put it? They have been, uh, uh, what's the word now? When something just, like a puzzle, it just fits
Yeah,
into the
just
other.
fits.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes, yes, yes. So last week we did the live video on achieving your career goals, and this was a major look at goal setting. So this was how I started. We spoke about what a goal, what a goal truly was, because a career is also something that you desire, you want to achieve, and so that means it should be a goal. And so, if that is a goal, we must understand the concept of goals, goal setting, and how to achieve our goals. It's so important. So the first thing I said was that a goal is a desire that you envision and embody waiting to manifest. It was a definition I got out of somebody who was speaking one day, and I caught it and I said, this is the most powerful definition I've ever heard about a goal. Because usually in management classes and stuff, you hear things like a goal is a written down, stuff. And in this definition, it was so deep that it resonated with everything that I had believed. So I began to look at this definition that why will it be first a desire? And I realized that people usually don't achieve anything outstanding outside of a very strong desire. It's a
Right.
desire, or it is desire that pushes people to really achieve, whether good or bad. If you look at people who have been convicted of murder, one of the things the lawyers try to establish was like, a motive. And when they begin to look at this motive, they begin to see that this criminal have been nurturing a desire to commit that crime. All right. And so if you can also use desire to achieve something negative, you can use desire to achieve something positive. I realized that a lot of the times why people don't achieve their goals, especially their career goals, is because it's not truly a deep rooted, deep seated desire. Like I said last week, I said uh, the major task of a leader, anybody who calls himself a leader, the major task of a leader is to plant desires in the heart of his followers. That's what makes you a leader. That's what makes people follow you. It's because there was a desire you planted in them that pushes them to follow you. So to achieve your career goals, first of all, it has to be a desire. It has to be something that's deeply rooted in your spirit. It has to be something that it will stand the test of every physical challenge, right? Because a desire is inside of you, right? So it will stand the test of every physical challenge. And, whenever you go through trials and trouble, there is a desire inside. It's that desire that pushes you to go take certifications, to go take courses. It's that desire that pushes you to push yourself beyond where you are. So a lot of the times, people don't really truly have a desire to do what they want to do, or to do what they have claimed that they want to do, right? So let's go deeper into that definition. A goal is a desire that you have envisioned. Now we come to the second part of this definition, which talks about the power of visualization. And I ask my clients sometimes in the coaching session, most of the time, I say, how long do you spend visualizing this desire that you have you visualized it beyond 10, 15, and 20 years? Where do you want to be? Where does the vision picture you, in this industry, in this career, in this desire? A lot of the time, people don't have a very long vision. That's where we talk about long-term goals and short-term goals. I was speaking to you about a lot of musicians who, they did an interview with, and we found out that most of them who really thrilled us back in the days, today they're no longer in the music industry,
Right.
even though they're not doing any other thing, but their music isn't selling, they're not recording any new music, and they're just, living life, on the low key. And then you ask yourself, what happened? Is it that these people because for you to really achieve phenomenally, you have to visualize yourself beyond now. Even and here is the trick about goals. You have to visualize yourself beyond the years of your early success. You get that, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people only visualize themselves when they make it. But what happens after you make it?
So that, yeah.
People are stuck with success. When they achieve success, it's like that was the end of their visualization. But there is more to it after success. After success comes more success,
Yeah.
more responsibilities, more challenges. So they didn't envisage and visualize the more challenges, the more responsibilities. They only envisage the day they break through.
Yeah.
And that's where they stop. So you see a lot of people, they achieve success and that's all that there is to their life. So I teach people, have you visualized far beyond? When I went through my coaching course, one of the models was a visualization, and we were asked to visualize ourselves when we were 70, 80 years old, what we truly wanted to become and what we want people to say about us when we're 70, 80. I mean, that's a long time. But the truth is, if you don't visualize that long, you will be cut short.
Yeah.
You'll be cut short because you would be distracted by the early success, the early challenges, but there's still so much to go.
Yeah.
Now, the third aspect of this definition, we'll talk about the first, which is it has to be a desire.
So before you go into that
Yes.
third, it's really interesting that you talk a lot about, just visualizing what comes after. And that's a concept that Simon Sinek talks a lot about in his book, The Infinite Game. And it's funny how, he talks a lot about it. So you've accomplished what you were working towards. Now what? What comes after that? Are you able to set your mind to an infinite, have that infinite mindset that it keeps going and not just, this thing right here that you want to do, and you're not considering everything else, you're not considering afterwards, and all of that. But also the other really interesting thing about visualizing, the future is not everybody is naturally equipped to do that. So for someone like you and me, I can tell that visualizing the future comes easy. For other people, other people are basically about the now. What's right next on my checklist to knock out. And it's and that's why people need to be very aware of themselves. There are certain things about myself that I know, if I don't discipline myself to religiously work on this, like I'm very bad with finances. And initially I used to feel bad about it. Me too. And then I learned, and now I religiously live by my budget. If I go out and I buy something $2, I'm coming right back and I am throwing it on the spreadsheet. Yeah. And people say, oh, I can't keep up with the spreadsheet. But you know what? Keeping up with the spreadsheet is my strength. So why don't I use it to my advantage so that I can solve my weakness in finances?
Use it about it.
And that's the way it works with visualizing the future. You don't have the natural ability to visualize the future because you're sensing, I don't want to get too technical, so you can come back and talk about the third. But like when you start going into personality traits and cognitive functions and those things, they start to let you see that, you know, I am very much more about the future than I am about now. And that's where self-awareness comes in, and knowing, okay, you know what, I naturally struggle with seeing the future, visualizing stuff, seeing what is ahead of me. So what do I need to do in order for me to keep, you know, to keep that in check? And that's where, you know, coaches come in. That's where doing things even as basic as, you know, writing stuff down and keeping yourself accountable to it. That's where stuff like, you know, just getting in a conversation with somebody that maybe is more of a vision, you know, vision seeking person like you or me, and let them help you brainstorm that and keep you accountable and grounded in that thing. So I'm
powerful
at that. But a lot of times we don't think, you know, we're hammering on visualization, but we're not thinking that it is easier for some of us than it is for others.
I totally agree with you, because even I myself, I was also thinking that I was even good with visualization until I did my coaching course, and I found that, you know, I haven't really been visualizing the way I should have been. So, you know, when you said that's where we coaches come in to help people push their ability to visualize, you know, to assist them. There are people who truly are all about the now, and trust me, there are people who are doing a great job about being all about the now. They don't, they will use the Bible scripture that says that Jesus said, "Don't have no thought for tomorrow." You know, so they're telling you, "I'm living my life for time," and they're doing a great job. They are succeeding. You know, so these people also need to be aware that as much as you are achieving your goal per time and you are living every day, you know, just, you know, every day like that, it's very important to stretch that vision, you know, to include what will happen in 10, not because you want to worry about what will happen in 10 or 20 years time, but you want to be able to, what I will call mapping, life mapping. You want to be able to map out your life and have like a holistic and helicopter view. I say, okay, so this is where I am right now, and this is where I'm going to be in 10 years time. So because I know this is where I'm going to be in 10 years time, it helps me to focus. It helps me to keep my direction. Okay, so that's where mapping comes in. Mapping comes in because you want to be able to trace your direction. You want to be able to have a path. Do you know one of the worst things that can happen to a person? Something happens to you and you don't know why it happens to you. You know, that's one of the things that frustrates you. Where you are and you don't know how you got there.
Right.
Somebody says something. He said the secret of success is the ability to repeat it. The secret of success. That means you are not successful until you are able to repeat it.
Right.
Together. That means that first success is a fluke. It's a fluke. It could be a fluke. But I want to know if you are able to repeat it. When you are able to repeat it, it tells me that you know what you're doing. It tells me that you have it mapped out and you have your path carved out. It means that you know how you got there.
Right.
You ask some people, how did you do it? I don't know. It's God. It's God. I'm not disputing the fact that it's not God. No, but even God Himself has a pattern, a path. There is a reason why He's God. There is a method to how God works.
Yeah.
Yes, you say God works in mysterious ways, but all through the scripture and the Bible, He has made it clear how He works. He has made it clear how He blesses. It's very clear. So we want to be able to map out our life for the purpose of direction, for the purpose of understanding how we got to where we are, understanding and being able to repeat certain methods and certain principles that make up our success. So when we are talking about this, we are actually helping people to gain mastery. You can't get mastery over your life until you are able to manipulate everything around you. Both your past, both your present, both your future, both you're able to maneuver everything around you. You're able to move things towards your advantage. That's what we call mastery. Okay. So the fourth aspect of the third, right? The third aspect, a goal is a desire that you have envisioned, embodied. So we are talking about embodiment. The third aspect of this definition talks about how you play into character.
That's my favorite
movie
one.
actors, yeah, yeah. Movie actors and actresses are good for one thing, and they get paid for one thing. They don't get paid because they stand in front of the camera. They don't get paid because they are beautiful.
Yeah.
Movie actors and actresses don't get paid because they call themselves actors or they're in the industry. No, no, no. You get paid because you know how to go into character. Hmm. This is where a lot of people need to understand. There is a character you need to get into
Yeah.
to be able to achieve that desire. Listen, somebody said something and I quite agree with that person. You see this statement we make, be yourself, be yourself. Being yourself could be very tricky.
Mm-hmm.
Being yourself could be very dangerous. Well, I would rather say be your good self. Let me explain that two statements. You will say, but it means the same thing. No, it doesn't mean the same thing. A lot of the times, by design, by sometimes subconscious design, we have built habits that have supposedly become our personality. And when you are performing those habits, it's like you're yourself. Sometimes they are bad habits. So should I keep saying be yourself? Because if I'm saying be yourself, it means continue in the way that you are used to.
Right.
Yes, continue the bad habits. But listen, mastery over life is the ability to get into another character that is for your good.
Right. Right.
So it's not all the time with people search inward, be yourself. No, listen, if you have built something, if you have built terrible habits, please don't be yourself. Come out from that self and create and come into another character. Create another character to step into.
Right.
If you have, if for example, you are the kind of person like, you said you are bad with finance, I'm bad with finances, I'm trying to manage my finances. It would say, be yourself. I'm a lavish spender. Hey, I mean, you don't need any form of training or anointing to become a spender.
Oh yeah.
That thing
Oh
comes
yeah.
by default.
You know what
It's a
my
default
favorite saying
setting.
is, you know what my favorite saying was? It was, I work too
Yeah.
hard, so the least I could do is get myself whatever I want. And I used to say that, and man, I was deceiving myself. Like, when I finally started to realize, I was like, whoa, okay, this needs to be like. And it's so
Yeah,
funny
because
because
you
I'm a
yeah.
minimalist, but at the same time, there's specific things that I will go all out to get, and I would just know non-negotiable. I would go all out and spend on those things. And then I started to,
I mean, I'm telling you.
you just grow, and you realize, oh, if they leave this thing up to me, I'm just gonna mess it all up.
As
And then you start budgeting, and budgeting has been a lifesaver for me.
I'm telling you. See, all those things that you are doing, I'm telling you, I want to believe that. I mean, you struggled with them, budgeting, staying within your spending limit. You struggled because it was not your, in quotes, yourself.
Yeah. Yes.
It had to be another character you had to play in order to reach your desire. So here is the thing. A lot of the things we have embodied don't match with our desires.
Right.
You want to be successful, but you don't want to work hard. They don't match.
Yeah.
That's the core reason people are struggling.
Yeah.
You want to be this, but you don't want to do this.
Right.
So what you embody has to be a reflection of what you desire. How do I know what you've embodied? By the things you pursue, by the things that you let go of, by the things that you deprive yourself of. There is one of the sayings I love. Delayed gratification is a sign of maturity.
Right.
There are some things you can afford right now. You could get it, but because you are looking 10, 20 years down the line, you delay it. Pleasures, you delay it. Travels, you delay it. A lot of, because maybe you are delayed it because you want to use the funds that you could have traveled. You want to use to write a book. You say, but man, I want to travel. What will book do for me? But right. 10 years down the line, you don't know what your book would become. Your book will have become an institution.
Yes.
That will avail you the opportunity to travel the world. but you couldn't sacrifice it because you wanted to go to Dubai for 2 weeks because everyone's going to Dubai. Now you have the money. I mean, you will convince yourself that I will make the money back. Let me just use this money to travel to Dubai. So a lot of the times we cannot embody the discipline that will help us to achieve that desire. It's a whole lot of discipline. John Maxwell, in one of his leadership videos, told us something. He said, everything that you ever desire is uphill.
Mm.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Everything you want is uphill. It's not downhill. It's so easy to go down.
Yes.
No, not everybody can climb up. Everything you ever want, everything you desire is up the hill. So it's hard. You got to climb. It's hard, man. It's hard. It's hard to achieve career goals. Trust me. There are so many things that will battle for your time.
Yes.
That will battle for your resources. That will battle for your emotional stuff. Everything, but only you can pay the price for your greatness.
Right.
I tell people, nobody is rich enough to pay the price for your greatness. You are the only richest person that can pay the cost for your greatness.
Yeah.
That is the only place where you are the only richest person in the world. I tell people, that is the only scenario that you are the only richest person in the world. Not even Bill Gates' wife. You are the only one that can pay the price for your greatness.
Yeah.
So I tell people, are you really ready to embody this thing? Embody the discipline. Yeah. And now the fourth part of that definition is a goal is a desire that you have envisioned and embodied waiting to manifest. So I tell people, it's not going to happen in one day.
Right.
There is a process and you have to go through that process. So this is where I get into the 3 inner step process and the 3 outer step process of achieving your goals. People say, man, this is too deep. Can't a goal just be as simple as writing it down? I said, no. Writing it down is just goal setting techniques. Right. It's not goal setting. It is techniques. Writing is a technique, but it's not goal. You need to know what a goal is. Right. And how we achieve goals. And then we now begin to talk about techniques, planning, writing, positioning. All these are techniques. So let us really deal with the intangible concept of a goal and goal setting and achieving your dreams. So I'm going to introduce you to these 3 inner step process. I teach people this in my coaching program. One of the things that will militate against the achievement of your goal is belief. So the 3 inner step process says this. You have to, in order to become, you have to behave like what you believe. I will say this again for people who are watching. Because I tell people this, and this is the key of goals and achieving.
Yeah.
It's not so much of what you achieve, it's what you become in the process of achieving it.
Yeah.
That's the real achievement.
Yeah.
It's not that you achieved it at the end of the day, but it's who you became in the process. And so in order to become that person, you have to behave like what you believe. So let me explain this very quickly. If you watch it, you know, when I get to this point, I'm a bit calm because you need to sink this in. So let's back it up. In order to become, I need to behave like what I believe. So let's start from the belief. There are 2 kinds of belief in everybody. You say, well, what do you mean? Yeah, the belief you tell everybody you believe, the belief you show everybody you believe, because everybody, we are all actors and actresses and pretenders at some point, yeah? But there's another belief inside of you.
Right.
It's called the subconscious belief. And that subconscious belief usually is the belief that you truly believe.
Right.
It's not the belief that you act up. It's the belief that's just there by the things that you have heard, seen, and said inward.
Yeah.
So let me use this example for people who are watching. Some of you may not be Christians or read the Bible, but there is a book in the Bible, and in this book in the New Testament, I think it was in Luke. Jesus was talking to a man, and there was a man in that scripture, and that man had a son, and that son had a demonic spirit, And that spirit, the Bible will say that that spirit oftentimes will throw him into the fire and into the water, just, just disgracing the poor boy. And it even became worse when the demon saw that Jesus was coming. He threw the boy into the fire, threw him into the water, and the father was perplexed, was worried, and he cried out to Jesus to deliver his son. And there was a very remarkable, conversation between Jesus and this man. And when Jesus got ready to deliver this boy out of the hand of that demon spirit, Jesus asked the man, "Do you believe?" And the man said, "Hear this now." The man said, "Yes, I believe." And then just immediately he said, "But help my unbelief." I began to wonder, how can somebody you believe and at the same time you don't believe? It means publicly you can see that I believe because I want you to see that I believe so that you will heal my boy. Because I have heard that until you believe, you won't heal. So yes, I believe. But Jesus, deep down in me, there's something that says this boy will not be healed. It's a lot of times people are going through those two things. You want to succeed, I'm a success, but inside of you, there's something that says you're not going to make it. There's something that's agreeing with the opinion and with the thought that you may not make it, that you're going to struggle, that you're not going to do well. And I said three things that factors that constitute this subconscious belief. Three things: what you are saying, what you are seeing, and what you are hearing. These are the three things that have made people develop a subconscious belief that is so powerful to the point that they cannot behave like it and they cannot become. Number one, you have to watch what you are always hearing. I tell people you have to go away from environments that constantly pollute your ears with negativity. It's so important the people around you and their testimonies. Damn, you know that if you have people around you who are always saying, I'm a failure, I didn't make it, things are hard, I'm never going to amount to anything. You know, if you have a lot of those people around you, it's going to begin to affect your psychology. Do you believe that? It's going to affect the things you manifest because those are the things you're hearing: negatives, failures, difficulties, problems. The more people tell you this thing, the more it begins to shape what you believe.
Yeah.
If a child, as early as the child is growing up, you begin to tell the child you are a failure, you're not going to amount to anything. What many of these rappers and people who have made it, they made it some way and they had a breakdown. All of a sudden, out of the success, they had a breakdown. And then there's in an interview, they will say that, you know what, when I was growing up, my mama told me I wasn't going to amount to anything. So because of what the mother said, hear this, because of what the mother said or the father said, they began to fight that thought.
Right.
I've got to make it. I've got to make it. So they were struggling with somebody else's opinion. You see, let me go deep. I want to go deep for people watching. Let me go deep. You see, we were never meant to compete with anybody. Our greatest competition was ourselves. Do you believe that, Dami?
Yeah.
You were meant to compete with yourself. You were meant to beat your own record. But when there's another person's record inside your head, now you're competing with that person's record. Right? You've left you. No matter what you achieve, it's nothing to you because you never competed with it. So people who have succeeded and all of a sudden they had a breakdown, and they will tell you, you know what, it's because somebody said this to me when I was young and I've been fighting it. Yes, they achieved success, but that thing later came up to overwhelm them.
Yeah.
That's why it's so important to realize who is speaking into your life.
Right.
Very, very key. You don't have the right to tell people negative words. I know it will inspire them. Now listen, you don't know when you tell them negative words, when it will motivate them. Listen, you are destroying that person.
Right.
Yeah, because they're going to be struggling to prove a point.
Right.
But it's not their point.
Right.
They will always try to prove it. So you see a girl, because they said she's not going to amount to anything, she's going to try to make it in life, whether by prostitution, doing whatever. At least she has made it to prove a point to you. But listen, if you truly talk with that lady, she will tell you there is a huge void in her, right? She left who she was to fight with another person's opinion.
Right.
Fighting another person's opinion. You know, a lot of people out there, you think they are sane, but what they're trying to do is to prove a point.
Right.
You don't have to prove a point to anybody. You have to flow with your purpose. Right? You have to flow with what is already inside of you. Huh?
And there is, you know, I always tell people, like, I don't care what anybody else around you is saying to you, but there's so many things that nobody else, absolutely nobody else in the world can do like you do it. But you have to, so that's where, like, when people say be yourself, be authentic, you have to be reaching within and say, what is it in myself that I, you know, and when someone feels empty, I know it's hard for them to see those things. And again, I'm going to come back to that is why you need people like coaches, so that they can help you, because coaches are some of the most intuitive people in this world. That I don't care who it is that has told you that you're not going to amount to anything. You're not, you know, it was a time that I was looking to apply for a job after I first moved to the US, you know, and someone literally said to me, you know, do you think Shey Long Wambe? I have to say to you,
oh my
that's
God.
how she said it to me. You know, she's like, Shey Long Wambe, you know, and that's your mates are applying at places like McDonald's and Wendy's, and she started listing all these fast food places. But I knew that I had something so much more, that my place was not in McDonald's. It doesn't mean that the people going to McDonald's will amount to nothing. No, that's not the vision that I had.
For you.
You know,
that's not your vision. I like that. That's not your vision.
You know, and so when she was saying it, I just, you know, I kind of just shrugged and I just shrugged it off, and I left. And sure enough, I got hired into that job that she said that Shey Long Wambe. I did not just get hired, I got promoted. I moved in, I mean, like, I transitioned.
Good.
I was training in the job.
That's what I'm talking about.
You know, but you have to believe in yourself that you are a gem. One of the books I'm actually currently writing is titled You Are a Gem. And you have to believe it. If you don't, I mean, like, if you don't believe it, go and connect with people that will help you start believing it.
You have to believe it. I like that.
Because I feel like that's what people are struggling with the most, is you're looking at everything that's going on around you, and it's so hard for you to see the good in yourself. Somebody asked me a question on one of my old, you know, many years ago. I was doing a live session. She said, how do you, you know, put yourself out in the midst of numerous, you know, talents that are like yours? And I told her, I said, I don't care how similar you think your talents are. There are things that you will produce out of your submission to the gem that you are, the unique person that you are, that the person next to you cannot produce. It may look like you're doing something similar, but honor that uniqueness that you carry. Honor that gem that you have.
Honor that uniqueness. I like that.
And do what you need to do. And let it not be because you're trying to prove a point. Let it be because you have really, you know, searched and seen, this is my talent. You know, when the Bible was talking about the talents, you know, and the one that God gave one and gave, was it 3 and 5, you know, and the ones that had more, they went and did stuff and they produced more, because generally when people have more to work with, they want to do more. But the real test is with the person that seems like they have that little that is not comparable to anything that anybody else has. So, anyways, yes.
In fact, I see the way this topic has gingered you. Because, you know, I'm sure you have seen a lot of people who are battling with trying to prove a point to somebody else. The only person you have to prove a point is yourself.